The album is like aged whiskey or something. Your songs, I reintroduced myself to the songs.
Right.
It gave me a new energy about it. I liked the tracking from first to the end.
Oh.
This last song could have gone 20 minutes and it had been fine with me with all night long. I mean, it really, you know.
Jimmy.
When you go back and think of people that you've worked with, and I keep thinking of this because I met him with you the second time, was Michael Jackson. You ever think about Michael and just, you know, just think about him as your little brother and miss him, or just say, because he possibly is the most misunderstood musician of all time.
You know, Ali said something to me, and I referred to Michael Jackson. They said, Ali, how does it feel being the greatest boxer of all time? He said, no. I'm not the greatest boxer of all time. I had the greatest opponents of all times that made me rise to my greatness. Okay, now I said that to say, I had a little midget called Michael Jackson at age 9. There was a thorn in my side. That little boy could dance, sing, write, arrange, produce, and I'm much older, and I'm going, I got to beat that little boy. I don't know, why am I in competition with this little kid? Well, as time went on, that little kid became my friend. And we had this competitive friendship that if ever I thought this was the bar, he'd come in about here. And I'd go, okay, you know, I never would have written all night long if it wasn't for da-da, dun-dun-dun-dun, uh-oh, here we go. You know, and all of a sudden I realized we were kind of having this wonderful competitive time together. And I saw his dreams swallow him. In other words, he actually did go beyond the bar to the point where it was so famous, it was so incredible, he fell under his own weight because he couldn't maintain that level of famous. And I remember we used to talk all the time about, you know, Lionel, we're never going to let those drugs and we're never going to let that stuff get us like everybody else. And finally, when it did, I kept looking at him going, what happened? But I knew exactly what happened. The day he was burned was the day he was introduced to this thing called painkillers.
Yes, and it was all downhill from
all
there.
down here. It just takes one little thing to just knock the edge off.
Did you have that in 1987 in that you were so famous and so popular and everything you did, everything you touched turned to gold?
Absolutely.
That you just freaked out and just said, I got to go home and be with my dad and just be there.
You said it correctly.
This is crazy.
You said it correctly. I think once I saw Michael wobbling and I saw Prince go through his, you know, I realized what was happening. Jimmy, we were moving so fast. I mean, we were moving so fast that my dad came to me one day. I think just the universe just sent the right message, even though it was the wrong thing I wanted to hear. My dad called on the phone and said, son, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to go to the doctor and check it out. Would you go with me? My dad's never said that before in his whole life. This is a military guy. Okay, this is the toughest, roughest guy. I've never seen him sick a day in his life. But I could see a little bit of frighten in his eyes. And I'm used to doing album tour, album tour, album tour. And of course, the company was going, oh my God, Lionel, dancing on the ceiling. You got the Oscar, you got it. Come on, babes, we're on a roll, bam. Bam, 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 bam. I kept thinking, let me go home and check on my dad. And we got the news that, you know, it's not going to be good. And I didn't want to do the next album because I want to be there. And because this is the only time I've got. Well, it's a funny thing when you stop and you think it's for the right reasons. Well, also when I stopped, my marriage fell apart. And during that period of stress, the doctor checked my voice and he said, you know, you've got polyps on your vocal cords. In other words, the more I was slowing down, the more I realized, wait a minute, what the heck, I'm falling apart. So what ended up to be a year off became 3 years off by the time I went through that whole drama of my life story. But I must tell you, it was probably, as I look back on it, the thing that saved me. Because if I would have kept that same speed going, I would have probably hit the wall early on, because it was designed to not hurt me. It was designed to kill you. I always say to people every day, fame, money, and power does not change you. It only magnifies you. If you got a little problem, by the time you get $90 to $100 million, it could kill you.
Whitney Houston.
Perfect example. Perfect example. Michael Jackson. Perfect example. Elvis. Name them. I can name them for you. Listen, you get $200 million. I'll give you $500 million. Let me give you $500 million and fame. Excuse me. I'll give you $10 million and fame. It'll kill you if you're not used to, when you're starting out in life, you make friends. When you're famous, everybody's your friend. Mm-hmm. So pick one. Who's genuine? Who's the right one? Who's the wrong one? You don't know.
The people you started with are the ones that you have to go with. But the people that knew you before you were really anybody big.
But those are the ones you burned first. You understand me? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that said, wait a minute, what do you mean you don't need me anymore, Lionel? Because you know why? Because you found some Hollywood friends. And you found the money friends. And everybody's there for you. Your friends from Alabama can't fly in to see you in Vegas. They work every day. And they can't hang out at the bar with you on Sunset. There's the school teachers. That's the coach at the high school.
That's why Elvis hired his friends.
That's exactly right. You understand? And I understand that. It's so important to understand that, what made this album so wonderful for me is that most artists in their lifetime can say, you know what, now I'm living in Hollywood, California. I don't go back there anymore. I can actually say, I can go home.